Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Connection. Not only is this episode 165, but welcome to season 5. Can you believe it? We are already at season 5 of Coffee and Connection. That means we've been doing this for 4 years already. Wow. How many years have you been here with me? Is this like your first year? Have you been listening since the beginning? Do you remember it was like COVID and we were all like, okay, we need to talk about this. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're dealing with a lot of emotions. I remember like doing episodes on lockdown, like in the car while we were going for COVID tests. I remember that. And we've been through a lot over these 4 years, right? And especially last year, I was just on a retreat with my coach, on an not an in person, a Zoom retreat with my coach last night and the last 2 days. And I was talking about, I was really reflecting on the last year and how what we really were able to accomplish together over the last year on Coffee and Connection was so powerful. And there's been a lot, right? 1 year on since the beginning, amazing, probably 4 years, amazing, amazing, and some of you may be brand new. This may be the first Coffee and Connection that you're listening to. You might be like, "What is this? I didn't even know I was gonna be invited to such a thing." So, Coffee and Connection, let's just start out with, like, an intro to it. Coffee and Connection is an opportunity for us to connect every week. This is free content. I'm here to answer your questions, show you the power of these tools, really just be here to support you however I can in a way that is available for everyone. And to really allow you to get to know me and get to know these skills so you can see the difference that they can make for you, right? And when you have issues that come up, to be able to you can send me those questions so that I can look to see how I can address them on a future Coffee and Connection episode as well, because we always want to make sure that we see practically how the tools work. That's really the idea. And I want to give you all here as much as I can in these little short segments that we have together. Now, season 5 here together, I really want us to set a commitment, set an intention that we really, please God, this should be a beautiful year, a year of growth, a year of Besorot Tovot, a year of good and sweet movements, right? For us, for our families, for all of Klal Yisrael. And what we do here is we deal with the real stuff, right? We deal with reality. This is not fluffy. This is not like, just like being idealistic. We talk about the real stuff that's going on. So, like today, I want to talk about the challenges that come up over Chag. I want to talk about the fact that like Chag can be beautiful and amazing, and it's also hard, right? We talked about that a little on the last episode of season 4. I want to talk about today and what we can do with what we realize has like happened, what came up for us over the last few weeks. Okay. I also want to leave some time to talk about the upcoming in person retreat because I'm getting really excited about it. There's really only a few slots. Some of you have already expressed interest. I was just looking at pictures with my beautiful partner in crime who is helping me put together this retreat, and she was sending me pictures of the suites and what it looks like and what the space is and how we could set it up. And there's really only space for a certain amount of women around the table and around the beautiful like space that we can sit in, and I'm really excited to be able to deeply connect with you. I mean, it's been a long time. I have not been in the US. I have not done an in-person event since 2019. I did travel twice, but it was only to Canada and I was in like COVID lockdown. I had to quarantine twice, if any of you remember that. But other than that, I have not, except for then after quarantine, going to the wedding and then getting back on a flight to go home, I have not had an opportunity to come overseas and actually spend time with all of you once again, actually be able to meet with any of you face to face, give you a hug, sit together and talk about what is coming up for you, have that in person connection. And it's something that's very powerful to happen. I was just reflecting today on an in person a private retreat I did with a client a few years ago. She came to Israel and we met together. We sat for a few hours together in a beautiful space and we really talked and we went deeper than we were ever been able to go, on our phone calls and in our WhatsApp messages. There's something powerful about sitting together and having time to really talk things out and really like have that face to face interaction for that extended period of time. And we worked through so much in that session. We were able to create such a breakthrough. She was able to create such a breakthrough that, I mean, her life quickly, very quickly changed completely for the better. I'm not going to give too many, I don't want to give any, any details, but like, let's just say that there was a complete 180 in her life. And that's what I want for all of you, right? For anyone who this is something, so like I said, I'm going to talk about it more at the end. If you have any questions, um, any thoughts about it, if I can, I can happy to give more details. I'll be sending out some more details later, but I know it's not for everyone. I know it is an investment. It is hard to get away. I totally get that. I was actually just reflecting on the first time. I did it twice, but the first time that I went on a retreat with with my coach, and I had to fly overseas for it. I didn't. It wasn't just like flying to another city. It was like I literally flew to Miami to meet with her and be in a retreat that she was doing, and just giving her that hug and being in the room with her and getting coached while she held my hand and being able to sit with her at night and just like talk about what was going on. And I remember sitting with her actually at one of the sessions was other people were talking and we went and we sat down in the hall and we came up together with the Absolute Feminine program. That's where the Absolute Feminine program was born, was literally on that retreat. And I remember booking those flights. I remember making the decision to go. I was terrified. And I literally did not believe that I got to have such an experience. I did not believe that I was worthy. I did not believe that I could. And it's interesting because a similar fear, like the similar feeling came up for me today about something else. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the same feeling I had when I was going to go to Miami, however many years ago that was, a long time ago. And it must be like 7 years ago. And, and I was like, wow, those fears were so strong that they came up for me in a completely different situation, but it's similar enough that the same like pattern came up. So powerful when we can recognize that. I was like in the middle of Daven Mincha, and I was like, oh my gosh, I went back into that old story that happened when I almost went to Miami, when I was supposed to go to Miami. And what was so powerful is that I can think back to how I overcame that fear and the literal difference that that made, not just in my life, but I'm going to say in all of your lives. Like the difference that this made, that it made for me to be able to go there, like the difference that made, please God, for the world. Like I never would be here doing with you now what I'm doing. I wouldn't have created the Absolutely Feminine program. I would not even be able to talk to you right now about this the way that I am. It was it's such a powerful thing that happens. So sometimes when the more scary something is, or the more we feel like I can't do that, the more we can. There's a power there. There's something that is possible, and we get to feel confident, and we get to overcome those fears and give ourselves the gift of such an experience. And I would love to be able to have that experience with with some of you. So I hope that you will consider it. I want to talk about, and this just segues very beautifully into like the power of being able to have this experience together, the power of being able to look back and say, what are my challenges? What did come up for me? See, one of the things that I am very much an advocate about, one of the things that I really stand here in like standing for all of you in, is that when you have a challenge, first of all, let's be okay with the fact that we have challenges. Okay, I will be the first to admit that I love the Chagim, and it is so hard for me when they're over. I do often cry at the ends of Chag, because it's just so hard to think that like we are not having another Chag for like another 6, sometimes 7 months. And then that's when my husband reminds me, but we have Hanukkah and we have Purim. And I actually relate to that idea that we need Hanukkah and Purim, and that's why we have them in Galut, because it's just so hard to not have a Chag for so long. At the same time, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, I literally got sick when Chag was over. Not because I was sad, but because we work really hard. There's a lot that goes into it, and I could blame it on the weather, and I could blame it on someone who was in my house who was sick. I could blame it on a lot of other things. But what usually happens, when do I usually get sick, is when I've been pushing myself too much, when I've been, not just go, 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 getting things done. And that definitely encapsulates the 3 weeks that, led up to Friday. We did have a non-hug day on Friday. That was our Isu hug. So, like, Friday, all of a sudden, I just was cooking in the kitchen again for Shabbos. Even though I had leftovers, I still had to make a few things. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't feel good. So, there is this reality that the Chagim are hard, whether it's because we work so much, we have to constantly cooking and cleaning and preparing and shopping, and there's more people around usually, so there's more food that needs to be made, there's more mess. We have another room in the house that needs to be cleaned. I'll just tell a funny story that there was one time we had guests come over for a meal on Shabbos, and we were in our, main room about to eat, and he goes, "Don't you have, like, another room of your house?" We were like the bedrooms in the back. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, no, I remember we came in here and we were talking, and then we went to another room to eat. And I was like, the sukkah? So the sukkah is another becomes another room of your house. And I don't know if you feel this. Like, it's another room to keep clean. It's another room that gets messy. It's another space to like worry about, and everyone's home. So not only is there more food and more dishes, there's also more drama. And there's trying to deal with everyone and trying to keep everyone happy, or trying to like deal with the fights going on between people, or trying to like see, well, what does this person want and what does that person want, and wanting to make everything that everyone wants and wanting everyone to be happy, and what kind of trips are we going to take, right? There's this little skit that I usually watch every year. I don't think I watched it this year, about this woman. I'm sure you'll have seen it. It's like a comedian, and she's pretending to be this like mother rifling through the newspaper saying, "What should we do with the kids for Halloween? It doesn't matter that I have so much laundry. It doesn't matter that I'm exhausted. It doesn't matter as long as the kids are happy." And it's so funny because it's so true. It's so real, right? And there's so much. Are you connecting with all of this, ladies? Let me know in the comments. Stay connected with me, right? It's coffee and connection. We don't just need coffee. We also need connection. So let me know if you're connecting with me here. And then um, there's also wanting to feel spiritually connected, right? So maybe feeling like, well, what about, did I get to daven? Did I get to sit in the sukkah? Do I feel like connected to this at all? Right? Like, did I get to listen to the shir I wanted to listen to? Did I get to daven? Did I say that already? Like, there's just so much on our plates, and then like, do we get our own time, but also feeling like stressed to spend time with everyone. There was one day over Chalamoy that I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually take time for myself in the morning, and I'm going to do some exercise. And I like did my exercise, and I'm like all sweaty whenever my bedroom, and my husband comes in, and he goes and he said like one of my best friend's names, like, Bathsheba's here. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I cannot come out. Also, other people are here. My parents are here and their friends. And are you coming out? And I was like, oh my gosh, please give me 10 minutes. Tell her not to leave. And like, there was like, and then I was running the whole rest of the day, running, running, running to like this place and that place and these friends and those guests that came over, and like making food and making dinner, and like, it's so much. Even when we try to take time for ourselves so that we can relax, we can replenish, we can nourish, it's like, but then we're pulled away. Like, maybe you had grandkids over, or maybe then your kids start fighting, or maybe then, something needed to get done that didn't get done. So there's like this constant pull, right? This constant pull on our attention, on our energy. And I'm going to say another one that often is a huge thing, and I'm seeing it now with my clients. It's something so real, is that Chag brings with it certain expectations, right? Certain expectations of like, I'm going to make all this food, I'm going to put in all this effort, but at least I'll have a beautiful yantif meal. At least everyone will be happy in the sukkah. At least everyone will say thank you. At least it'll feel a certain way, it'll look a certain way, right? And then what happens? What happens? The kids are fighting. Your husband doesn't sing the Zmira you wanted him to sing. Maybe he doesn't dress the way you want him to dress. Maybe your kids aren't dressed the way you want them to be dressed. Maybe you're too tired to enjoy it. Maybe everyone is like, it's just not the experience you want it to look like or feel like. The kids are fighting and embarrassing you, or, everyone can hear, like, oh no, what will people hear outside the sukkah? Like, the expectations. Yes, the unmet expectations can be so frustrating, not just like the depleting feeling of it, but also if you're trying to control and trying to like manage that like to kind of bring your expectations to fruition, that's also mentally and emotionally and physically exhausting, right? So so what do we do? What do we do? So here's what we don't want to do. Here's what we might be tempted to do. Actually, I'm going to give you two options of what I think most people want to do. Okay. One is to either be like, today you're supposed to go back to normal life. I totally felt this today because I'm still not feeling very great, even though I feel better. Thank God. I'm just tired. So, like, part of me just is like, I don't want to get started in life. I don't want to, like, move forward and, like, get moving and what I need to get done in now that it's post the Hagim, right? We might just want to be like so depleted and so just down from it all that we just want to like ruminate in it and stay in that like down feeling. And other people, you may connect to this one, are just like, let's just forget it and move on. So either we could get stuck in it or we could just kind of push it away and be like, let's just move forward from today on. Does that resonate with you? Are you like a push away or like a stay in it kind of person? I want to hear from you. I want the connection, okay? Let's do this. Which type are you? Or neither? Does that resonate with you? Let's see what you all put in the chat. Let me see. Let me hear. Ladies, can you explain again? Okay, so sure, some people just like feel so depleted by it, they get stuck in that like depleted feeling, like there's no energy to get up and move forward now that like we're after the Hagim. And other women just want to like forget that that happened and just like let's just go forward, right? Let's just forget it. Let's just push it away. Okay. Trying to push but exhausted. Good. So a little bit of both. Good. A combination of both. Stay with it. Okay. So thank you for your answers and thank you for your honesty. I think that really is. Thank you for pointing that out. Like, yes, I think for most of us, we do both of it. It's like, let's just forget that that happened, but we keep getting pulled back into it. So here's what I think is the most important way to handle a challenging, exhausting, frustrating situation, whatever it is. Okay? But we're going to talk about specifically about the Chagim now. Look at what happened and acknowledge what happened, what exhausted you, what was different than what you wanted. Like, notice what's pulling you down. Notice what you're upset about. Notice what bothered you. Why? Not to get stuck in it. It's the opposite. We often think, just like emotions, right? We think if we notice our emotions, if we notice what bothers us, if we notice our challenges, we're going to get pulled into them. But as we just said now, the truth is, if you don't acknowledge them and deal with them, they're still there and they're going to pull you down. They're going to weigh on you. They're going to affect you. Okay? But when we can look at and be like, what happened? How do I feel about it? What do I make it mean? What is it that happened that I didn't want to happen? What were my expectations? It doesn't even have to sound as like long and drawn out as I just said. Like 1, 2, 3. What are the three biggest things that challenged me over the last 3 weeks? I know it doesn't feel like 3 weeks, does it? It feels like I don't know, forever ago, since like Erev Rosh Hashanah. Like, wow, that feels like a really, really long time ago. It was okay, it's almost 4 weeks, I guess. We're on Monday already, but like, okay, a month, right? What challenged you over the last month? Three biggest things that challenged you. Notice them, acknowledge them. Why? First of all, respect that those things are hard for you. We don't have to try to push it away. We don't have to pretend that it doesn't bother us, that people aren't being nice, like that our kids are fighting, or that we have to pretend that it doesn't bother us that kids don't look the way we want them to look. Or we don't have to pretend that it doesn't bother us and that we're tired from all the cooking. We don't have to pretend that it isn't hard for us to like be available 24/7. We don't have to pretend that we're not sad that we didn't get to spend time in shul. And we don't have to sugarcoat it like, oh, but thank God I'm home. Yeah, thank God. You can be full of gratitude and still have three things that really were hard for you. Okay, it's so important to allow yourself to hold two truths at one time. So let's hold those two truths. You could be so grateful and so glad and so great, like just totally full of gratitude for everything that you had and all your blessings, and that you were able to do all that, and that you had the food for it, and the family and the guests, and you could be totally happy. And focus on the positive. Yes, you can totally focus on the positive. I'm saying I like to focus on the positive. Focus on the positive. Notice the things that you love. But here's the thing, you can also notice the challenges. And here's why it's important to notice the challenges. Because the challenges are your are the things that you now can work on over the next year. That's the problem with only noticing the positive and staying in the positive, is that you're not going to allow yourself to see clearly what your next best steps are. See, Hashem is so good to us. He's always making it very clear what our next things to work on are. What are they? The things that are most challenging us, the things that cause us the most pain, the things that exhaust us, the things that make it hard for us. If you're upset that like your relationship with your husband didn't feel so connecting over the last month, so you can work on creating more connection with your husband over the next year. If you realize that you had a lot of expectations and you're upset that people didn't look or do the things that you wanted them to do, you can work on your expectations and work on acknowledging where you might be trying to control things, and what can you let go of, and how can you create what you want to create without being controlling. If you found that you were just it was exhausting, you can work on saying, well, where can I set more boundaries or take better care of myself, or, give myself permission to rest more over the next year so I have more energy. It's not being negative to notice those things. It's not being negative. It's not being positive. It's being realistic. I'm going to say it's being real. It's being real, and it's being in a place of acceptance of the next things that you can work on to get closer to your ideal self. It's exactly what we get to do over the next year. If we're always focusing on the positive, and I'm not saying don't see the positive, but if we can't allow ourselves to acknowledge our challenges wherever we are in life, wherever we are in life, I'm talking to everyone, even the woman telling me that she has to always be positive. There must be something that challenges you. How do I know that? Because you're a human being, Baruch Hashem. And as human beings, we always have our next level of growth. We always have our challenges. We always have the things that are, even if you're not sitting in it, even if you're not stewing in it, there's something that is not, because life is not perfect and we are not perfect and the people around us are not perfect. There's always going to be the thing that we clearly see is not perfect. And that's what we get to work on. We don't have to be upset about it. We don't have to be angry about it. We don't have to become complacent and give up. We get to work on it. We get to figure out what the next step, what we can do to improve that situation, to deal with that situation, to become a better person through that situation. Is this resonating with all of you? The idea is that when we have a challenge, that's actually a gift of Hashem saying, this is where you can put your attention right now. This is your avoda. And it's so important because we so often see our challenges as like something's wrong with me that this is a challenge. But as we've talked about over the Chagim, and if you're loving this, then like go back to the end of season 4. We talked about this a lot over the last few episodes of season 4. The whole idea of like challenges aren't bad. You only see your challenge as bad if you expect yourself to be perfect or if you expect everyone around you to be perfect. When we acknowledge that like we're meant to be human and we're meant to make mistakes and mess up, that's what Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is for, right? Then we can acknowledge that challenges are actually the whole point of a challenge, of an imperfection, is to acknowledge it and see what can I do to move forward from it. Do you hear that? Yes, exactly. Challenges can make us grow. They help us grow. They push us to grow. They show us where growth lies. When something doesn't challenge us, it's either because we already overcame that or it's not in our space right now. It doesn't bother us. That's not the thing we're meant to deal with right now. So when we acknowledge what gave me stress over the last month, that's actually giving you a clear guide. It's a guide to what you can now work on over the next few months. So I'm going to invite you to write that down for yourself. You can even send it to me in an email as like for accountability, and we can talk about how you can overcome that, what's next best steps that you can take. And that's what is so powerful about being able to reflect and be real about the challenges that we have. Okay? Okay. So I hope that was all so helpful for all of you. And if anyone has any questions about the retreat, you're definitely welcome to put them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. I just want to give a little like talk about it a little bit. Um, I'm so excited about it because like I said, this is going to be an opportunity for us to connect in person, which I have not been able to do with anyone, in an event like this. I mean, we never had an event like this, but in an in-person event I haven't done since 2019. So it's very, very exciting to meet with you, to spend time with you. And the goal of the retreat is to really give you an experience where like not only are we going to really connect with each other and have time to talk, and it's really going to be a small group of women sitting around a table or sitting together and laughing, relaxing, enjoying, and also learning and coaching, like being coached together. The idea is that the more conversation that we can have, the more that we have that like relaxation and the time to get into what's really going on, the more you can have the clarity and the steps to move forward in creating what it is that you want to create in your life. So, I have some really powerful exercises planned. We have some really, working on the schedule to really make it as maximally powerful as possible in a way that is just going to be so fun and so freeing and so enjoyable and connecting over these 2 days together. It's going to be in a beautiful suite. That's where we're going to be housing it, in a hotel off this, like not on the strip, off the strip in Las Vegas, which is, a place that we can really like just concentrate on being together and concentrate on the experience that we're having together. Um, and I'm just really so excited about it. I'm excited to hug you. I'm excited to have that time to share with you, and to really be able to kind of relax and let go and go deeper into the things that are holding you back so that you can walk out of that retreat feeling refreshed and also clear, like have that calm confidence of like how you can create the life that you want to create. And to also give you the support after the retreat. You'll have a month of support after the retreat to make sure that you can take that calm confidence that you've created over the 2 days and bring it with you into your life. right? I'm not just gonna like throw you into the deep end and be like, okay, go back to your life. But like, I'll be there to help you be able to really integrate it then into your real life. Okay. Um, Amazing. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about it? If you do, definitely let me know. Um, and let me just check something. Do. Okay, yes. Um, okay, so which topics were you discussing at the retreat? That's a great question. And I'm gonna say this in two ways. I'm gonna give a very general answer. I'm going to give a very general answer and then I'm going to give the more like specific answer. The general answer is that we'll really be looking at your at desires and obstacles. Like what is it that you want to create and what are the obstacles that are in your way? Now that might sound very general. The reality is that it's going to depend on the women who come to the retreat, right? Really, we'll be talking about the topics that you need to talk about. Whatever it is that that's the power of a small, intimate retreat, is that it's really going to be focused on you and what you need. So, what are your challenges? What is it that you want to create? And the exercises, excuse me, and the learning and the training and the conversations that we're going to have are going to help bring that out, right? And make it very clear what is it that you want to create, what's stopping you from being able to create that, what do you need to open up to, what do you have to let go of, what do you have to be aware of. Maybe you don't even know what you want, so we have to do exercises to bring that out. Maybe you're not sure what's holding you back, so we have to talk about it and really get clear on what's getting in the way. So it's really going to be very focused on what each individual woman needs. And that's why even before the retreat, I'll be speaking to each of you to get really clear. So to get an idea of where your struggles are, what it is that is really holding you back, so that we can go into the retreat just like ready to go, really ready to go. So this will not have a virtual option, as a question that came in. This is an in-person retreat. I do virtual retreats for my clients, and I know some of you have been there, and maybe if there'll be future virtual retreats, but at this time, this is going to be an in-person retreat, and it's going to be very, very, yeah, very intimately focused. So I'm excited to actually meet with you in person, see you all face to face. Like I said, give you a hug, sit with you in that like experience of like we can sit here together and talk about what's going on and hear and from that place be able to really give you the experience of a real breakthrough that you can then, like I said, also have the support to take home with you and create the difference that you want to create in your life. It's a powerful, powerful experience. And I'm really excited about that. Okay. So thank you all for your questions. Thank you for your comments. And I am excited to continue on season 5 of Coffee and Connection with all of you. And again, anyone who has any questions about the retreat, don't hesitate to send me a question. Actually, if anyone right now is like, yes, count me in, I'm ready. Here is a link that you can use actually to register. You don't have to make the full payment now. You can just drop a registration fee and get your spot, because like I said, there's not that many spots. I saw the picture, there's a certain amount of spots around the table, and if this is something that you feel called for, if this is called to, if this is something that resonates with you, if you have any questions or hesitations, just be in touch. Because it's coming up really, really soon. I know it's so soon, and I'm excited to see you there. So I look forward to connecting with you all further. And yes, there will also be, thank you, Leora, there will also be some sessions for relaxation. We'll have like breathing and moving sessions in a way that's, don't worry, I'm not a very like, I'm not like, hippy dippy or anything. I do feel that movement and breathing is so powerful in opening us up and making us feel like ready and open and being able to let go also. We hold so much tension in our body, so we're going to be doing that as well. There'll be that option on the retreat. So it's like we're gonna use many different ways of like kind of opening ourselves up. So because here's the thing, ladies, so much of what holds us back is our um is like where we're like when we feel stuck, we're literally it's like we're stuck. We're closed to we're closed in our like our fears and our stories and our limiting beliefs, like and the way we think things should be, our expectations. We're like holding on to them for dear life. We're scared to let them go. We're so scared to let them go. So even if, you hear me talk about like let go of your expectations and how, nothing's ever going to be the way you expect it to be, but like there's so much fear of letting go of that expectation. And when we can have the time together and also have the experience of like actually acknowledging what we're holding on to and having opportunities to like open ourselves up and feel safe and have the clarity of what's getting in the way, what we're holding on to, we can really start to let those things go. And then, like, wow, all of a sudden we have this like freedom to be the women we want to be, to create the lives we want to create the homes we want to create. Like, it's just mind blowing what difference it makes when we can truly step into letting go of what we're holding on to and letting go of the fears that stop us from being able to let those go and step into really being the women that we want to be. Okay. Um, so thank you, everyone. I look forward to connecting with you further. Send me all your questions, and I'll see you next week. Until then, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.